Napoleon was a polarizing figure in the early 19th century, a lightning rod to post-revolutionary France's ambitions to redraw the map of old Europe under the tune of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Tonight we take a trip back in time to December 2nd, 1805, and one of Napoleon's more significant victories that splintered Central Europe. Did you know about the Battle of the Three Emperors? Napoleon Bonaparte was a man that was well ahead of his time. To his countrymen, he was a focal point of the ideals of liberté, égalité, and fraternity. To his enemies, he was a megalomaniac eager to shake up the status quo of established European power. So who was this legendary figure? Napoleon's meteoric rise to power was unprecedented. This brazen Corsican made a name for himself in the artillery during the French Revolutionary War years, specifically in the Italian campaign. Napoleon was no shrinking violet when pushing his self-promotion. It was known that he was infatuated by the likes of historical greats such as Alexander the Great, Hannibal, Scipio, a pretty big measuring stick to say the least. Building up this persona of greatness was no easy feat. Battle after battle helped to cement Napoleon's reputation as a formidable general. One such battle was Austerlitz, or better known to many as the Battle of the Three Emperors. The year was 1805, December 2nd to be precise. What was at stake in this clash of emperors? Well, Napoleon needed to put the Austrian and Russian empires in their respective places in order to force a creation of the Confederation of the Rhine, which was a collection of German states intended as a buffer zone between France and the rest of Central Europe. Breathing room, if you will.
The Emperor makes the decisions around here. It will go there. Okay, it goes there. The plans are perfect. I will conquer the world.
Coming off a very successful Austrian smashing Ulm campaign that resulted in the French army taking Vienna in November of 1805, Napoleon had to turn his attention into baiting the Russians and Austrian forces into a fait accompli engagement. The location would be just north of Vienna, in what is today the Moravian region of the Czech Republic. So just how important was this battle? Well, even today, thousands flock to the military reenactment held every year in early December, commemorating the Battle of Austerlitz just outside of the Czech city Brno.
So we made out here to Austerlitz, just outside of Brno in Moravia, and this is right before the battle, so the reenactment is going to be happening here pretty soon. I got a feeling that Napoleon will win this one as well. So we'll get to our seats and see what the battle will have to hold for us here.
On the cold, windswept farming fields of Moravia, the Austerlitz project welcomes over 1,000 reenactment participants from 15 countries around the world, including 60 horses and 15 cannons. Several thousand spectators ring the battlefield to take in the importance of this historic commemoration held every year in early December.
We're getting ready to start here in a few minutes, but remember this took place on December 2nd, 1805, to a resounding victory for Napoleon on his way to conquer most of Europe. So we'll get a chance to see that here today as the combatants and some of the other folks and reenactors are getting started.
These reenactors are the real deal. Authentic encampments, era-appropriate weapons, uniforms, battle flags, and food are all on display. This battle was full of intrigue, miscommunication, and deception that was discussed at military academies as required knowledge throughout Europe and the Americas. You see, Napoleon wanted to use Russia and Austria's pride and lack of good generalship to his advantage. He would give chase to these forces only to pull back, feinting at French army fatigue. The Russians bit on the bait, hook, line, and sinker. But who could blame Alexander? Napoleon allowed enemy intelligence to see his French forces beaten down, ill-equipped, and disorganized. In reality, the French Grand Army was a juggernaut, just waiting to bait the final trap. That trap was Napoleon giving up the high ground of Pratzen Heights, deliberately weakening his right flank. All basic no-nos in 19th century military tactics. The Austrians and Russians flooded the so-called weakened flank, only to be surprised by the hidden French Third Corps forces.
Never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake.
This led the French Fourth Corps to attack the Allied center. Within hours, the Austro-Russo forces were in shambles and retreating in various directions. But this engagement effectively rendered Tsar Alexander I's army removed from Central European theater, and Austria was basically done. The Napoleonic victory placed a great deal of pressure on the Central European coalition, as well as the Prussian states. This would bring on the Fourth Coalition War against Napoleon. But for the time being, the Battle of Austerlitz was a masterpiece of tactics and generalship by Napoleon. In the end, Napoleon was victorious. His European antagonists were nervous, and the French Grand Army was beginning to feel invincible. At the dusk of 1805, Napoleon announced his greatness on the world stage, setting the scene for the next decade of conflict ending at Waterloo in 1815. 23 years of French hostilities would be a watershed moment in European history, led by one of the greatest generals of the era. So now you know about the Battle of the Three Emperors. For more information on this story or any of our other DYK episodes on Past Access, you can visit us at pastaccess.com. Until next time, good night from Prague.
This has been Past Access Did You Know with Pete Collman. For more information on this topic or other DYK shows, please visit us at pastaccess.com. Be sure to visit our Past Access YouTube channel, like and subscribe.